Masked Hero.
Hello everybody and welcome to another deck tech video, kind of a discussion of this deck that I've been working on for the last couple weeks. Had a lot of success with it, took it up against Mutagen Formula, Mr. Sinister, and what was the other one? The other one was the Horseman. So I've had varying levels of success against what I would say is a pretty wide gambit of different scenarios. It is a War Machine deck that utilizes Cameo. And where this came from was that I wanted to try to explore Cameo in a way that felt like it was something outside of, the immediate things like, oh, let's just get the best ally we can, get out like Moon Knight, who's always going to be good for pretty much any hero, or, even like Colossus to some degree out of the Magic one is pretty good. Or, I think, what was the other one that had come? Hellcat was one that I've seen show up in a couple more places than I was expecting. And where I went with this was that I decided the best person to cameo in would be Nick Fury from Maria Hill's pack. So real quick, he is a 4-cost ally with 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, the shield trait, and the responsibility of, after Nick Fury uses a basic power, place 1 all-purpose counter onto a shield support. So what are we doing with this? What are we aiming to do, and how can we do it the best? Well, we are aiming to put that onto Munitions Bunker. So the main thought here was that I have found War Machine to be a fairly good hero, with the caveat being that the Munitions Bunker was always one of those cards that I saw a lot of potential in. It's like right in there, because when you are flipping over to James, you remove all of the ammo counters that's on your identity, and the Munitions Bunker is a place where you can store those counters for a time. And then when you flip back over to hero form, you place 5 ammo counters onto him. But Munitions Bunker always seemed like this really great thing to have that never really kind of paid off for me. And I thought that if we just have Nick Fury in play, we have ourselves a shield support that can just use the all-purpose counters. And I have found this to be a very good combination. Now, obviously there is the point that you need to be able to find both of these cards. That's easier said than done in some cases, but I do think that some of the cards that have come out recently, or just that are in the card pool just as a whole, are going to be very strong for helping us to build up some consistency. And some of this takes cues from my Deadpool deck, Bosom Buddies, where I kind of did the same thing. I said, that's a deck that this is also a sidekick deck to some degree. It's not where my sole focus is, whereas that Deadpool deck, it is. And because of that, I need to find Cable as quickly as possible. So I'm kind of already training myself how we do this in the most straightforward way possible. And how we can bring this combo together. Now, obviously, we're looking for a different combo. We want to combo Nick Fury with Munitions Bunker. But Call for Backup is going to be one of those cards that's going to help us out immediately. Obviously, it's on screen, but it has 3 threat per player. When you remove all that threat, you go find an ally from your discard pile or your deck and put it into play. That's our way to get Nick Fury. And then equally, we have the new card, Evaluate Threat, which is a 1-cost player side scheme with Victory 0. I suppose Call for Backup at Victory 0 as well, but you can only play it if you have the shield or the Avenger trait, which I'm pretty sure, yes, he has the shield trait on the other side. He also has Soldier on both sides, but either way, so you can play this at any point, whether you're in Ultra Ego or in hero form. And then when it's defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for a Avenger or Shield card and add it to their hand. Reduce the cost to play each of those cards by 2 until the end of the phase. So that makes Nick Fury easier to play. That makes Munitions Bunker just free, and it's a way to just tutor that out. Additionally, there are other Avengers in the deck. So if we already have Munitions Bunker, we already have Nick Fury, we have a way to just use Evaluate Threat to go get other things that we may need over the course of the game. So those are our main ways to kind of like search out at least the 2 cards that are most important to us. But then, of course, as I said, this is a sidekick deck. This is just a way to keep Nick Fury around for a longer time, because with only 3 hit points, if we don't augment him in some way, he's just going to have those 3 activations, which honestly, when you think about it, if you get 3 extra ammo counters onto your Munitions Bunker, which I suppose I didn't even really go over the fact that you need to exhaust it to move all the ammo counters from it to put them onto War Machine. So, you can store those there. You could have like 7 of them and just move all 7 of them over at one time, which really kind of makes the rest of his cards really come alive. But it's a bunker. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But the sidekick is a way so that we can get extra activations out. We automatically get 2 extra activations, but then every time we make a basic recovery, we're going to heal back Nick Fury and prolong that period of time. But again, as I was saying, like if you get 3 activations, that might be enough to get you through most of the game anyway. And so I guess additionally, you also have 3 turns to find some way to give him extra hit points, which we don't have a lot of. This deck is, I would say, is pretty lean. It's focused on what it's focused on, and so it doesn't have a lot of room for kind of other flourishes. But one way we can find sidekick is, did I seriously only put 1 copy of that in the deck? Okay, so that was just my mistake. Okay, so we have 2 copies of Suit Up, just a event that can go get us an ally and an upgrade that can be attached to that ally. We can use this to get Sidekick and Nick Fury. We can get Nick Fury or one of our other allies if we already have Nick Fury out, and another upgrade will be and one of the other upgrades we'll be talking about in a second. But yeah, this is just a nice way to help us to again search out what we're looking for, and yeah, just move forward with that. I guess additionally, a part of the Sidekick package is 3 copies of Side by Side. I do think that this is a card that you want to have 3 copies of it. I don't think you need 3 copies of Suit Up because you don't need to be focused that much on it, but this is always just nice as a way to give you an extra activation of both of your style. I mean, you heal a bit damage on your hero, but then you also get an extra activation of Nick Fury, or you can bump up both of their stats. Actually, in this deck, I find myself healing up Nick Fury more often than I do bumping up the stats, because what I'm looking for is those extra ammo counters. I'm not looking to make big sweeping attacks, but that option is always there. In terms of, I suppose other ways, I skipped over this. So build support is our way to get Munitions Bunker. We have Call for Backup as a way to get Nick Fury. We have build support as a way to get the support. We have the evaluate threat as a way to get either of those cards. And then just for upgrades that we're looking for, I suppose there's not 3 copies of that. We have 1 copy of Reinforced Suit, which just gives an ally plus 2 hit points. And then we have 2 copies of Inspired, just as a way to, since we're so focused on Nick Fury having to make basic powers, to do that, we might as well make them as strong as possible. That kind of does take what I said about Side by Side and kind of twist it anyway. This is long-term stat boost, whereas that's a 1-turn stat boost, and sometimes you'd rather the extra activation over a stronger activation. But still, these are just upgrades. They're just things to add to the suite of, we have Suit Up in our hand, we already have Cameo in our hand. How do we get Nick Fury? Well, we can use these. And then let's see, what are other important things in here? I mean, the generic, just we have the 3 different basic resources. We have 3 copies of Unified Strike, which is a new card out of Hercules. 0 cost event. When an ally uses a basic power, exhaust your hero. Add your hero's matching power to your ally's use of this. They do not take consequential damage. This is important because, quite honestly, War Machine is not necessarily looking to be using his basic powers. We're really going to be focused on his actual suite of cards, the cards that come in his kit, to do these things. And so War Machine can very easily just be a way to prevent the consequential damage, get that basic activation out of the way so that you can get an all-purpose counter, and it's all gravy. I will say one weakness of this deck is I don't believe there's any other target for the all-purpose counter other than Munitions Bunker, which is a flaw of the deck, but is kind of what we're left with. And then, I guess just rounding out everything else we'll talk about before we get into his actual card suite. We've got Ready to Rumble, which is just going to give us an extra activation when we change to hero form. We've got Yellow Jacket, who is just going to help us to find upgrades. Other than that, he's just a nice ally. You could give him the other boosts. You could have him be a 3 attack, 3 thwarter, or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, we're just using this as a way to help us with 1 extra way to find any upgrades we might be looking for. We've got Iron Lad, who honestly could probably be replaced. He's not the most important thing. There was a version of this deck where I had Honorary Avenger, and so Iron Lad was able to use Nick Fury's stats. That's not a thing anymore. So this could be replaced by probably anything, but he's just in the deck because it's a basic ally. We've got Jarvis, who's just, he's going to help us in some ways. This is another card that I don't know necessarily needs to be in the deck, but I've had good results with, and I haven't needed it for another Avenger deck in the last couple weeks. Got team training just to give our allies an extra hit point. Again, every activation of Nick Fury is going to be a good thing. The last thing we have outside of the kit is mission leader, which is just nice because we are a soldier on both sides, and after a side scheme is defeated, we exhaust mission leader. Each player draws a card. Not the biggest deal, and I guess it does get a reduced cost because we are a soldier. It's not a trait locked card. But yeah, I just thought this is a good place where we're probably going to be taking out a lot of side schemes. Nick Fury is plenty good at just being a reliable thwarter. And if you have the unified strike, that means that you can have him thwarting for 3 without taking consequential damage. It's just a nice way to also keep the cards flowing. Moving on to the actual cards in his kit, which we'll blow through. This is not a new player guide, but we've got upgraded chassis, and this card is pretty basic. It just gives us an aerial trait and gives us a tough status counter, which can be important. That enables us to stay in hero form longer because we don't really want to burn up our ammo counters. We want to kind of get through all of them and then change down to alter ego. That's easier said than done sometimes, but upgraded chassis kind of allows for that. Then we've got missile launcher, which is an upgrade. We have so many upgrades, so Yellow Jacket's going to be is actually excellent in this deck. But we can exhaust this, remove an ammo counter, deal 2 damage to an enemy. The attack gains ranged. We've got shoulder cannon, which we can exhaust, deal 1 damage to an enemy. You may remove an ammo counter from War Machine to ready shoulder cannon. So this is my finisher. I think that for any War Machine deck, this is generally can be your finisher, but this is just a way to be like, okay, I have 7 counters on the munitions bunker, move them over to War Machine, just go to town. This is going to be the last thing you're going to start removing ammo counters with, but obviously it's right there on the tin. It's like this is going to be dealing whatever amount of ammo you need to do before you switch down to alter ego or just end the game. Iron Man, who just grabs us a tech upgrade, which is going to be nice because we do care about our upgrades. This is going to get us a tech upgrade, which is kind of just the stuff in our kit. Targeted strike, remove an ammo counter, remove 3 threat from a scheme. So this is not the most useful card in the deck, but this obviously has its purpose and it has to be there. Got Gauntlet gun, which exhaust, generate a wild resource, and then place 1 ammo counter onto War Machine. There are so many cards in the game that at some point I was playing this where it's I was doing it as generate a wild resource, remove an ammo counter, which seems like a weird thing when you kind of look at the formatting. Of course, this is adding a counter, but yeah, this is just nice because we need to be able to play some fairly expensive cards, or we need to play multiple cards in a turn. This is going to help us do that. We got Scorched Earth, which is just an event that we remove 3 ammo counters. Pretty expensive, but deal 3 damage to each enemy in play. That can be very good for clearing things out. It is one of the last cards that I necessarily care about in this deck. Generally have so many ammo counters running around that this is just an easy way to burn up a couple of them. And if you need to switch down to alter ego, just use this to burn up any extra ammo counters you needed to do, and go to town. And then one of the last cards, we've got Repulsor Beam. Remove an ammo counter, deal 4 damage to an enemy. And then last thing is full auto. Remove 4 ammo counters from War Machine and choose an enemy, deal 8 damage to that enemy. This tech gains overkill. So yeah, the nice thing about all this is that for all these cards that care about ammo counters, we are always live. Like, we can always make things happen, and we're always going to be able to use these cards to the best of our ability. Shoulder Cannon goes up so high in stock. It was already a card that I liked a lot. I don't remember where it is placed in my favorite cards from the wave. I feel like it was a fairly high card, but this card has gone up so much more now with this combo. And yes, I think this is a stellar use of Cameo and a stellar use of Nick Fury. And I'm so happy to have found this deck. And yeah, that's why I wanted to share it with you. I think I'll want to play it in a game for a video coming up soon, but right now I'm just working on a different video that was taking up more time than I was expecting, so I needed to put this together. But yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're doing great. Keep it up.